A warm good evening to all the participants. I take great pleasure in introducing Dr. G. Satheesh Reddy, the Scientific Advisor to the Defense Minister, Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very big opportunity for all of us to learn from Dr. Satheesh Reddy Garu. And please join me in welcoming him to this leadership conversation. Welcome, sir, once again. Thanks for agreeing to speak with us. I take just a couple of minutes to introduce you over a PPT. I'll share my screen, or I'll request my colleague to share the screen, and then afterwards I'll hand it over to you, sir, for your opening remarks. And after that, we will have the Q&A. We call it WiseViews Leadership Conversations. We have been hosting this every Friday evening, basically around 6:30 p.m. We have completed 101 leadership conversations, sir, so far. And this is the 102nd leadership conversation. So after the introduction, we'll have 20 minutes of opening talk by Dr. Satheesh Reddy Garu, then 40 minutes of Q&A, and if possible, a brief sum up. I'm extremely proud on many accounts to introduce Dr. Satheesh Reddy Garu. I have known him personally and professionally over several years, and it is very difficult to catch him in terms of the time commitments, but we must, as an institute, salute to his commitment to spending time with education institutions and youngsters, which is always done. And this one, I requested that this is for the working professionals and seniors from industry who want to be leaders. So he has kindly consented to be with us. So on this account, I'll start. Dr. Satheesh Reddy Garu is a scientific advisor, as I mentioned, to Raksha Mantri, Defense Minister. He is an acclaimed defense scientist of international repute, a visionary leader and institution builder. Dr. Reddy has, with his technology leadership over the past 4 decades, deeply influenced and impacted the design and development of multiple technologies and systems for defense of the nation. In his career, which started from a system designer to the chief of the Defense Research and Development Organization, a huge journey, he has contributed ceaselessly to the cause of indigenous development in the area of defense. In his role as Secretary, Department of Defense, R&D, and Chairman, DRDO, Dr. Reddy spearheaded development of advanced defense systems and technologies through major programs on missiles and strategic systems, fighter aircrafts, armaments, and futuristic technologies. India's maiden successful test of anti-satellite missile Mission Shakti has successfully executed under his watch. Dr. Reddy diligently drives innovation and cutting-edge research in many areas that include niche or denied technologies. Dr. Reddy has helped foster in an ecosystem that encourages free thinking and creativity. He has pioneered the formulation of policies and initiatives to enable participation of startups, MSMEs, and academia in first-of-its-kind technology development and fast-tracking the transfer of technologies to industry. Dr. Reddy worked tirelessly during the pandemic to develop required technologies to fight COVID-19. Under his guidance, nearly 15 technologies for combating the virus have been developed, and about 75 products have been transferred to 100 industries. He demonstrated exemplary courage and leadership during the pandemic, and his non-stop work bears testimony to his never-say-die spirit and effectively mirrors the outstanding humanitarian facet of a scientist. Dr. Reddy's significant contributions in the field of technology development and promotion of scientific pursuit have resulted in his being conferred with honorary degree of Doctorate of Science by many leading universities in the country. His vast scientific and technological contributions have been acknowledged by leading international institutes in the form of honors and awards. He is the first Indian in over 100 years to be conferred with the prestigious honorary fellowship and a silver medal by the Royal Aeronautical Society, London. The Aeronautical Society recognized contributions of Dr. Reddy towards indigenous design, development, and development of diversified missile systems, aerospace vehicles, guided weapons, and avionics technologies in India. He has received numerous other awards, including American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics Missile Systems Award. He is the first scientist outside USA to be awarded in nearly 4 decades. Other awards conferred on Dr. Satheesh Reddy include the National Systems Gold Medal, National Design Award, the IEEE IEEE USA Award for Engineering Excellence and the Homi J. Baba Gold Medal. So thank you very much, sir. This is an impressive profile that anybody can aspire for. I also have Professor R. Prasad, who brings with himself 3 decades of experience. He was an entrepreneur, corporate leader, and an academic right now. He heads the online MBA program and is a professor and course mentor. He has published several articles, books, and presented papers in various conferences. We can stop sharing the screen now. We will conserve all the time for you, sir, for your remarks. We are all ears. And once again, I'm thankful to you for agreeing to speak in our leadership conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, stay glued. This is the 102nd leadership conversation. Over to Dr. Satheesh Reddy Garu. Thank you, sir.
Namaskar. Thank you, Dr. Sudhakar and Mr. Prasad, Professor Prasad, and all the people who are present there. Very good evening and namaskar to all of you. At the outset, let me thank ICFAI and particularly Dr. Sudhakar for giving me an opportunity to interact with all of you. And today I thought as there is a tremendous shift in the technology development in the country, in the defense technologies, and the way the system is evolving itself, shaping itself as an advanced technology hub in the defense technologies today. I'll give you a little a perspective over the decades, how the system has evolved. If you look at probably about 3 decades back, most of the technologies what we have today were not existing in the country. The laboratories of DRDO were working on some technologies development. There were few industries which were working with making the components and systems more like in a BTP mode, that is built to print mode. There were very few academic institutes or few professors who were working in the defense technologies or research related to the defense areas. This was the scenario. And in the year 1983-84, Dr. Kalam brought in the missiles program, IGMDP, Integrated Missiles, Guided Missiles Development Program. And then later, the bigger system, Arjun, MBT, Main Battle Tank System development, and then Light Combat Aircraft development. In the 90s, some of these started seeing the success, like the missile Prithvi, and then Agni, and then onwards, Akash, and various other missiles. And later, the Arjun has gone for the trials after the development. Then LC also started flying. That's how in the area of missiles, tanks, and then aircrafts, India has made inroads into those technologies and started moving on. From there onwards, many technologies have been developed. The communication systems, the armored vehicles, then the electronic warfare systems, and simultaneously the submarines program, the ships development, the helicopters development, and torpedoes development, the sonars development. Lots of things have taken up, and the development in the multifold environment and multifold technologies development started. This is one side of it. Parallelly, in the academia, where, as I said, very few institutes like IISc, the Jadavpur University, and a couple of IITs were working on defense research. That was the scenario. And then lots of academic institutes, lots of professors got into the research in the defense area. And number of projects, number of mechanisms have been brought in. First, there was a center opened in Indian Institute of Science called JATP to work jointly on technologies and research between the scientists of DRDO and the Indian Institute of Science professors. Similarly, a cell was created in Jadavpur University. We're working on a couple of algorithms and guidance schemes, control schemes, and things like that. That was another. So that paved the way for creation of some centers of excellence also. And so it progressed in a big way. number of academic institutes started working on it, number of professors started working on it. And then today, there are 15 centers of excellence in various academic institutes today. It's like IIC, IIT Mumbai, IIT Chennai, IIT Delhi, IIT Jodhpur, IIT Kanpur, then IIT Kharagpur, then you have in Bharatiya University, in Hyderabad Central University, Gujarat University, Jammu University, and all that. Very Mizoram University, like that, there are various places on various technology centers have been opened. Lots of projects are running there. And similarly, at various other academic institutes, there have been extramural research projects have been given. And today, there are more than about 400 academic institutes working on defense research projects today. And there are more than about 1,200 crores worth of budget is running on these projects today. That's how the academic institutes have shaped. And there are many professors in each and every review who participate in the same plane and same level of discussions with the scientists who are working on those areas. That's the way it has shaped in the academic institutes. On the other side, when you look at the industry, as I said, in the early 1980s, when these programs started like IGMDP, there were only very few industries which were working with you. And they were working in the BTP mode, where you generate a drawing and then they produce as per the drawing, or as I said, build to print. That was the scenario. And slowly, as the programs were shaping up, many programs were coming up, many industries started coming up. And some of them started making the systems as built to specification also. Started building systems from components, they started building the systems. And the industries have expanded in a big way. And today, I can say there are at least about 1,800 industries which are working as Tier 1 and Tier 2 industries, and more than 10,000 industries which are working as Tier 3 industries. This is the way industry has shaped. And today, many systems are coming from industry. If I give an example, the Akash missile, which is the surface-to-air missile, which Indian Armed Forces have placed a very large number of orders on Bharat Dynamics Limited and Bharat Electronics Limited. In that missile, I can say when the BDL is integrating that Akash weapon system, 85% of the items by value come from private industries, and then BDL integrates it. That is the way the industry has grown and shaped up. On the other side, when I say in the technological front, as with the number of laboratories working on number of systems, as the confidence of the armed forces in Indian defense research has gone up, number of technologies started emerging. The Prithvi got inducted, the Agni got inducted, Agni became Agni 1, Agni 2, Agni 3, Agni 4, Agni 5, Prithvi became Prithvi 1, Prithvi 2, Dhanush, then Akash came in, then Astra came in, then the BrahMos missile with the Russian joint venture came in, then the ballistic missile program has come in, then the other missiles have come in like anti-tank missiles and all that. So many things have come. The Arjun has become Arjun Mark 1 and then Arjun Mark 1A. LCA Mark 1 got inducted, then started working on LCA Mark 2, started working on AMCA, and then number of bridging systems, number of Pinaka rocket system, the communication system, the SDRs have come into picture, the torpedoes have come into picture, torpedoes got inducted into it, number of radars have been developed, the core technologies which are required for radars have been developed. So likewise, many things. So in a nutshell, I can give a statement that the country has become self-reliant in the areas of missiles, radars, sonars, torpedoes, electronic warfare systems, AWACS systems, aircrafts, guns, armored vehicles. And that is the way it has shaped. So that is the condition what it has come in. Now, this is the way then the country started looking for a complete self-reliance, Atmanirbharata. This is where a lot of encouragement to the industries, academia, and others started in to see that defense ecosystem is flourishing in a big way. to make the country self-reliant, reduce the imports in a big way, and make the exports in a big way. This is how, in this process, the number of schemes are brought in and a lot of encouragement to the industry has happened. Firstly, the many systems which are going only to the DPSUs, that is Defense Public Sector Units like BDL, BEL and HAL and all that, they started flowing into the private industry. Like today, I can confidently say that there are a number of missile systems development as DCPPs have gone to major private industries. The DCPP is a concept which has been brought in, that is development cum production partner. When DRDO takes a project for development, design and development, industry is brought in simultaneously. They also become part and parcel of the design and development and learn, understand, go through the co-development process. The first few prototypes and the units which are required for the trials are coming from that industry. That is how it is called DCPP, Development Cum Production Partner. This is what I said when I said the number of missile systems, maybe more than 8 to 10 missile systems which have gone into private industry now. They have come as development cum production partners, and the first two prototypes have rolled from the industry in some of the missiles already. Similarly, bombs, similarly, radars, many things have come out. And so the industry has started working right from the design stage into these critical systems like missiles and bombs also from the industry. Similarly, there is a WAP, Wheeled Armored Platform, has been developed with Tata's as development partner. The country's first artillery gun, 155mm artillery gun, is developed again with Bharat Forge Limited and Tata's, and the gun is being inducted now. The country's first 150mm artillery gun, which becomes the world's longest range gun. So that is another thing. So there are more than about 106 items which have been now being developed with the industry as a DCPPs, major systems which get into the armed forces. Similarly, there are a number of other technologies, subsystems and other things at the laboratory level, which are again working with industry as development cum production partners, making the industry participate in a big way. So now the private industry is getting big orders from armed forces for all these systems in a big way today. And industry is also developing many systems on its own, with some collaborations on its own, like K9 Vajra is a system which is from L&T coming. Likewise, many systems are coming. This is one thing. So the private industry started feeling a lot of confidence that lots of orders are available, lots of orders are coming, we'll be able to go to. This is one thing. Then another sea change in the country is the startups. The youngsters started staying back in the country. Majority of the IIT students who were going abroad earlier, now majority of the IIT students are staying back. And so the number of startups are coming up in a big way. In the year 2016, there were 461 startups in the country here. Now, there are more than 90,000 startups which are registered with the Government of India today. There are many of them working on defense and aerospace technologies. Thousands are working. This is a sea change. People are working on defense technologies. And there are lots of new technology, innovations are coming. So to promote them, there is an IDEX system which has come from Department of Defense Production. There is a technology development funding which can fund up to 50 crores to each industry for a development, for a research and development in the industry has come. Both startups and MSMEs are using it in a big way. There are more than about, between IDEX and TDF, probably 150 to 200 industries have used this funding to develop the systems today. So lots of new technologies are coming, which actually directly getting into the armed forces in multiple mechanisms. The induction is taking place, orders are coming. At the same time, there is a program taken for skill development also. MTech courses have been introduced in the universities. There are almost about 40 institutes in the country who have introduced MTech courses in defense technologies. So lots of people are coming, skilled people. There are courses started in cyber technologies. This is another important thing. and elective courses in BTech. And then number of apprenticeship, training, other programs have been created in all the labs. There are more than about 10,000 students every year get trained. So skill development is also happening. With all this, country started looking towards development of advanced technologies, which have paved the way for like air independent propulsion. India is one of the very few countries, maybe second country or third country to develop that. Quantum technologies, India is one of the very few countries which has demonstrated the quantum communication over dark fiber more than 100 kilometers. And SDRs, likewise many technologies. Today, gallium nitride technology, which has come in for all the radars related things. We are trying to develop all the sensors, trying to develop the lasers. So lots of technologies are getting developed through all these mechanisms today. And still, the gaps which are there are trying to get filled. So in this process, now the country is poised to shape itself as an advanced nation in defense technologies, turn around from an importer to an exporter. That change has come in. And this year, we have exported more than 16,000 crores worth of equipment, which we have exported this year. We were importing earlier, and now the export started. Lots of inquiries from various countries are coming in now. So they are looking towards India with all these technologies developed. So the country, from a leading importer and where we didn't have technologies, today the country is becoming more and more Atmanirbhar in all these things. There are few gaps which needs to be filled, like aero engines, some advanced materials, and related technology, sensors and detectors, which need to do with the help of the private industry in the country. Our private industry taking the lead into it, need to be developed in that. From here, we need to get into the call given by Honorable Prime Minister from Atmanirbhar Bharat to make for the world. That is where we need to work today to export in a big way, make for the world. This is, if you want to say that we have to be make for the world, we need to develop advanced technology-based systems or first of its kind systems, and the systems at a lower cost and with a sustained quality. This is where academia has to play a major role to come out with these technologies which are innovative, which are first of its kind, which are advanced in nature, are the technologies. The basic research in academic institutes need to take place to come out with these technologies. And industry should be able to take these technologies, should be able to produce them with innovative manufacturing technologies where the efficiency is higher, the cost will be lower, and the reliability of the system will be much better, is the one which actually makes your product sellable in the international market, technologically competitive, price-wise you are lower, and maintaining the quality or reliability. These are the things. So this is where the academia has to play a major role in coming out with research output in most advanced technologies. Today, let's say when we talk about hyper electromagnetism, we are talking about lasers, we are talking about quantum technologies, we are talking about advanced materials, we are talking about some of the very critical sensors and devices. These are all the things which we need to look at it and try to develop these systems, technologies, and industry should be able to take the lead and establish the innovative manufacturing facilities and try to do it. And also promoting the startups to come out with the continuous innovations and new systems which become globally competitive. This is one important thing. Today the startups mindset is look globally, trying to make products which are globally competitive products. This is one important thing which has come in the mindset of the youngsters. So utilizing in a synergetic approach, the R&D organizations, the academia, both concentrating on basic research and applied research to translational research, the startups coming with more and more innovations, industry able to produce the systems with innovative manufacturing and also carrying out research in niche areas is one of the important things in a synergetic way what we need to do. So today, for the country to flourish, to become prosperous, exporting the defense equipment to the entire world is the most important thing. So for that, all of us have to work together and play the specific roles what are required, in which today's topic, very specifically the role of academia and industry, taking the scenario today, what is existing in the country, the way the systems have been opened up to the private industry, the way the facilities have been opened to the industry, the test facilities have been opened to the industry, and more than about 60% of the budget in the defense R&D going in the form of defense development contracts to industry, and many other features which are brought in, and export promotions have been made. And this is the right opportunity where industry has to take on and take the lead, market worldwide and sell the products worldwide. And academia at the same time focusing on specific areas and identified areas, working in that to come out with the first of its kind technologies. This is what I appeal to both academia and industry to come out to make the country an advanced nation in the defense technologies and systems production. I stop here and take the questions now onwards.
Thank you, sir. That's been an amazing account of how we have advanced over the last 3 decades and more in terms of our defense preparedness. And every word that you have uttered has been quite pleasing, and our heart swells with pride for the simple reason that we have covered a huge ground under your leadership, and the way you have championed landscaping this defense technology development, being there very much, working with the biggies and bringing about this transformation, and giving an opportunity for us to position this country as an advanced nation in defense technologies rather than an importer, which we were till recently. I think the figure of 16,000 crores worth defense equipment being exported this year itself, or the last year itself, has been an amazing milestone according to me. And I'm sure from here on, the clarion call given by you for academia, for startups, for MSMEs, for the industry, all of us will have to come together and join in making what is called making for the world. I think that clarion call is pretty strong, and I'm sure all of us will work towards it and make this country quite proud of ourselves. Sir, I would not like to take much more time in summing it up because it was pretty clear. I will request my colleague to jump in with the Q&A. The first cluster will be taken up by Professor Prasad, and second cluster I will take up. And if there are questions from the audience, they may raise hands when I come for the second cluster. But the first cluster, I'll request Professor Prasad to initiate. Over to you, Professor Prasad.
Thank you, Professor Rao. So that has been a very enlightening insight into how things have changed from 30 years back to how it was. I remember having done a defense research project when I was doing my BTech with one of the professors at IIT Bombay, but beyond that, I did not know. But from there to what you're doing here, I think this is amazing. I mean, because, you know, this is not what we thought it was. I mean, you have given quite a bit of insight into how this whole thing has emerged. So, sir, I'll come to the point now in terms of the first question. What have been the criticalities of this evolution? And do you think these criticalities will hold for the next stage, or there will be some more?
See, there have been a lot of criticalities here during this journey. Firstly, when we tried to develop the systems, there was dependency on the foreign countries on some critical components and systems and all that, which actually, particularly after some of the tests, nuclear tests, all the countries have seen that these technologies or these components and systems are not available, which forced us to develop here in the country. And that actually put us by about 2-3 years in each and every system. But still, the country worked on it and developed the technologies in multiple ways and gone up. This is one thing. Second, as I said, building the confidence in the industry that there is a market available and try to make them come into this area is one important thing, which particularly Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, in the last 7-8 years has made a change wherein industry got the confidence that you are invited into it and a lot of market is available and lots of orders have gone into the private industry, making them jump into it, and who have established a lot of infrastructure. And so bringing the private industry come up to also your level and trying to see that the industry is able to work with you is another thing. And then also getting the interest in the professors to work in these defense technologies and bringing them up to work on these areas and try to see that you are able to provide the advanced research inputs to the laboratories is another important thing. Now I feel that such criticalities are not there. We still have certain gaps, and the gaps needs to be filled, as I mentioned, a couple of areas. And now today it is the criticality is how we will be able to compete and penetrate into the market of the world is the most critical aspect. That is the angle where we all need to work, looking at the capability to manufacture those items and market it in the world, penetrate into the market.
Excellent, sir. I think you have identified what lies ahead for us and have also targeted it at what the roles academia and industry need to play. Now, let me put in a specific question, sir. What are the challenges that we have from academia and industry at this stage? Can you be a bit more specific in that so that the institutions which are listening in, their leaders, as well as other entrepreneurs will be able to come in?
See, the academia side, what I want to say is we are looking towards more of basic toward applied research is what you need to. If you are looking for first of its kind systems to come from this country, need to come out with the technologies which world has not seen. So that calls for working in academia in the basic research to applied research. Translational research definitely happens, has been happening, and all that is fine. So, but we need to have professors who can work in depth in a particular area. Let's say what I mean to say is example quantum thing. So we need to develop a quantum sensor today. So there needs to be a couple of institutes in the country here who are working deep rooted into that and trying to come out before the world comes, whether you talk about a quantum radar, or a quantum sensor, or a quantum navigation system, or a quantum clock, or whatever it is. And these sort of things are the most important things where we are looking towards. And of course, definitely necessary infrastructure is required and funding is required, which can go into it. One thing. Second, coming to the industry, industry should be able to get into the design and development activity on its own or with the help of the R&D organizations within the country, not looking towards any joint ventures and other things from outside, and try to see that the indigenous technologies are developed in the country is one of the important aspects what industry should look at it. And of course, industry, I always say that industry will come forward when there is a confidence in the industry that there are sustained orders are available. This sustained orders availability, there are 2 points which we need to remember to invest or whatever it is for the industry. One is the domestic market. The domestic market will not be able to provide for a long-term production activity in the country because the numbers required are limited. Yes, the available numbers definitely will be able to go and a couple of industry will be able to produce. But unless we tap the world market, global market, industry to have sustained market or sustained production capability is very difficult. So these are the 2 angles which actually industry has to see. One is building the capability within the industry for design and development and product upgradations and versions to version change in that. And second thing is also trying to look for the market globally.
Fantastic, sir. I think again, you've hit the nail on the head and the problems have been defined clearly both for academia and industry. Now, if I look at this stage, are there any lessons we have from models followed by other countries which have moved ahead and done global work?
See, there are multiple models in the world and which we have studied and which have gone through it, but each model is very specific to each country. Any model from outside cannot be brought in and applied here in the country because the nature and the ecosystems in those countries are completely different. You look at the American model, or look at the French model, or look at the UK model, or look at the Russian model. They're all completely different based on the system, the society, the way the industries have come up, the way academia are there and things like that. And similarly, even the government, the way they have been functioning. And so this country, particularly till recent times, till the present government has come into the position. We have been following more of DPSU's model, and industries have been only as a suppliers to the DPSUs has been. The model has been changed now. Now industries have brought in private industries as equivalent to DPSUs, and they are competing each other. And so the industries are now investing in a big way and coming into investment and trying to look for the market. So the country needs to find its own model for it to work in such a way. So the model, what it is today, is the academia working on the research and also translational research. And second, encouraging the young talent in the country, as this country's strength is young talent. And it is said somewhere that in the couple of years from now, 40% of the workforce will be from India. So how to utilize these youngsters, these startups, and other mechanisms, and the talent coming out with new technologies is one of the very important things this country as a model to look into it.
Excellent, sir. I think the issues which need to be looked at have been identified. So here I'll zero in on the talent part. So today we have what we call in our conventional language Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z, and now you're coming to Generation Alpha. And all of them have since we all have children, all of them have very different values, habits, and what they look at. Now, from an implementation point of view, how do you, what kind of roles can one get into? How do you facilitate this? Because this is a soft issue. And if this is not facilitated, for instance, when you're saying young talent needs to be inspired to get into this, of course, there are many who are already coming in on their own, but if this needs to be facilitated, how do we go about doing that? What are the needs and roles which you feel are needed for effect from a cultural point of view in order to tackle this challenge, including that of teachers in academia?
See, firstly, let me talk about the youngsters, and then we get into the academia side. Youngsters, I think the cultural change started getting into the minds of the people. That's how you are seeing that today 90,000 startups have come here in the country. And more than 75% of the IIT students are staying back here in the country is another important change. And one important thing which has started in the country here is the incubation centers which have come up in the academia and various other places, which have facilitated these startups to come in. See, if you look up about 10, 15 years back, somebody wants to establish something, he needs to, it's a big burden, right? You look at a place, look at a factory, or look at an office space, invest into it, try to put the equipment, try to work on that. And then there is a lot of problem for the funding. And then of course, after that, the marketing. Now what has happened is with the incubation center coming into picture, the place is already available. The equipment is also available. So you have an idea, you go on straight to work there. This is one thing. Second thing is some funding mechanisms have come in. Like I said, IDEX, the TDF, I'm talking about only defense, have come in. So this is another important thing. So that facilitated the people to come out and say that we can work on these technologies and come out with these technologies. What is still required is, I think still the startups in the country are finding a lot of problem in getting funds. The funding mechanism is one thing where we need to look at and concentrate and support the startups. And one more important thing is the mentoring mechanisms. As you said, the generations which have worked and got a lot of knowledge, that knowledge needs to be disseminated, or knowledge needs to be used for mentoring the startups, is one of the important things what we need to look at. This is one more important thing what startups need. So I think today the startups need a lot of funding support, and also the support in the form of mentoring, providing the technical facilities available in the government sector, in the laboratories and all that is one important thing. Coming to the academia side, I think in many academic institutes, as I was saying, instead of one is definitely because there are students, both BTech students, MTech students, I'm talking about technological students. So naturally, some amount of translational things and innovations related things and tweaking the products, coming out with that will be there for the students who are doing project work and all that. But the more important thing is focusing on new technologies, coming out with new technologies to do the research on those areas, and coming out with those technologies is one of the most important things. Today, let's say, if I want 100 kilowatts laser here in the country, that's one work. Or otherwise, I'm talking about very high power electromagnetics is another thing. And today, talking about many alloys what are required are the manufacturing technologies today. Let's say, I'm talking about in this country, we need to develop many machines and equipment. How many of the machines which are there in the country's workshops and all that are made in this country? We need to look at that, how we can develop those machines here in the country with the help of academia. These are the things where I feel that academia also should stress upon and focus on those things and try to do the fundamental aspects of it is one where we need to focus on.
I think you have scoped out the issues very well, sir. With about 90,000 startups, if you want to increase the conversion rate, lessen the dropout rate, and pivot it towards the kind of technologies that you are talking about, you have raised two issues. One is of funds, and the second is about the right type of mentoring. Third, of course, is about identifying that this is in high-tech area which is needed by the country, and also that kind of impetus to come in from academia. Thank you very much, sir. There are many more questions, but I'll end this cluster here and hand it back to Professor Rao. Yeah, no.
Sir, I've been keenly listening to the roadmap that you have given in terms of the agenda that is set for the key stakeholders like academia, the youngsters through their startups, and also the funding mechanism. The people who are investing in these startups also would have got a signal that funding should be related to the mentoring, and mentors, those people, as you rightly mentioned, with years of experience and wisdom, if they are on some kind of dotted line or on the boards of these startups, and then those startups should be actually receiving good funding, at least as a safety mechanism, as a mechanism to trust and invest. I think if that works out, it's an issue of trust basically. And apart from the large opportunities the country is opening up in the defense sector for private people and youngsters and startups to get in, I think it's a trust factor for the investors to actually invest more in the startups as well. I think that can be resolved by mentoring and establishing a proper mentoring ecosystem. That's fantastic. Sir, in the interest of time, what I will do is I will request the audience if they can talk to you directly. One or two questions we can take before we exhaust the time. And that's what I was looking at. And in the meantime, I will take this question. Others can raise their hand and Srikanth can open the mic for them. Sir, my request to you is to, what is your prognosis? I mean, what is your prediction? Are we going to have a 3D printed jet engine coming up, just like the way 3D printed rocket technologies were used by Skyroot recently, one of the startups from Hyderabad, as you know? How do you predict, and what are the emerging areas there in the next couple of years happening according to you?
See, one thing is there, the additive manufacturing technology is shaping up in a big way, from very, very small critical components to large systems in a big way. And so many things will be coming out of the 3D printing, and could be definitely some of the engines, if not the full engine, some of the parts definitely. And in fact, some of the parts are already being made within the country also. And as I said, firstly, it is very important for the country to have an aero engine. There are multiple technologies which are required in this, both hardened parts and other parts which need to be developed, and wherein additive manufacturing will be playing a very important role in this particular aspect.
Amazing, sir. I think that gives an indication of, on one hand, what the startups can look forward to, what the new technology development, especially in the academic institutions, can look forward to, and invest their time and hope in working towards some of these emerging technologies. Sir, as you mentioned, academic institutions will have to work on niche areas as well. Research output has to come into these areas that are going to be required for us in developing this nation as an advanced nation. According to you, there are many students who are staying back from IITs as well. Sir, is there any direction to the managements, the chairman or the management of these leading institutions other than IITs? I'm sure you have dealt with many institutions. I regularly see you talking to the youngsters in various colleges across the country. What are one or two guidelines which will shape the focus on niche area research, translational research, as you say, to come into the focus of defense technology? So what are your guidelines for one or two for the managements and owners of these private institutions?
One of the important things, leaving aside a couple of private institutions which are doing well, try to have the good infrastructure for the research, what is required in the institutes. Second thing, you're also getting good professors who have interest in the research is one of the most important things. If these two are there, automatically students will be there, research outcomes will be there, research funding also will be there. Today, one sea change again is that lots of youngsters who are done doc and postdocs in various prestigious institutes abroad are trying to come back to the country. Till now, the trend has been more of them have been coming into our premier institutes like IITs and ICETs. This trend has to be into the private institutions also. If that comes and private institutes management is able to invest into the research infrastructure, then private institutions also will be able to do in a big way, contribute to this, and number of students will be able to come, number of research fellows will be there, a lot of PhD activity takes place. In fact, we have signed an agreement with Ministry of Higher Education, wherein Ministry of Higher Education is sponsoring 500 PhD students in defense technologies, in defense related research topics. This all can be taken. It is just not possible only IITs to do. So definitely we like to have other institutes also to come up in a big way and try to do this so that it is the horizon expanded to many other people.
Excellent, sir. That's a great advice that we can work on amazingly, including ICFAI. As you rightly know, ICFAI Tech has been working on some of the cutting edge technologies to the extent possible. And some advices from seniors like you will definitely help us reshape our roadmap and aligning ourselves with what is required for the country. So there's another issue. Are we celebrating enough the heroes of science and technology, and therefore, especially across private institutions, a large number of them clamor for placements and placements for whatever is market talking about on an immediate basis. So there is almost like a desperate competitiveness with respect to finish the placement activity and give them employability in a manner that is probably sought by the students at the time of joining. But are we celebrating enough with respect to science, innovation, technology development, especially in the society as well as in private institutions, so that societal pressure or societal encouragement will also help us? Any guidelines for us to take up? How do we celebrate these highlights and innovations, sir?
In this particular aspect, I feel that it is not up to the mark, the celebrations of the successes of this. Of course, the society itself is recognizing, and that's how many people are jumping into this area. But then the innovations which are coming out, the outcomes which are coming out are not really being in the way you are saying they're celebrated or recognized in the country. I think we need to work on that. There have been some schemes which have been introduced, like we have introduced in DRDO a scheme called Dare to Dream. Dr. Kalam used to say that dream, dream, dream. Taking that, we have put every year a competition on Kalam's birthday, and a lot of innovative ideas are taken up, and then competitions are held and seen that. And a lot of things are happening in the private industry also to support this. But then there needs to be some more encouragement and recognition to these innovations which are coming from the industry, particularly from the youngsters, need to be taken up. I think we need to work out on a couple of mechanisms on that. It's a good idea.
Thank you, sir. I think whenever there is an opportunity, if youngsters should listen to you, talk to you, that itself is a great boost for their motivation to realign their skills and future with the development of defense technology. Sir, one thing which I, as a student and as a professional working, I can also say that the milestones that you achieve as part of DRDO or as the country that achieves looks like rocket science. It is not simplified to us to a large extent. I'm sure with your good offices and your help, if a technological success and advancement can be simplified in a manner that youngsters can build up their aspirations towards it, I think that could be nice. And therefore, all the institutions should seek out your time. I mean, it's difficult, but whenever possible, that should be done. And at the same time, at the mass media level, if it can be simplified.
Lot of exhibitions and a lot of presentations are happening across the country. Number of products are being displayed, various exhibitions, and in fact, many universities call for people who give talks, that time exhibitions, and a lot of students come and also visit the laboratories. These all have been facilitated and trying to do much more. I think people are well aware of now. A lot of things have been put in the website and they're able to see that. Yes, some more can be done, definitely.
Yes. Thank you, sir. I will pause here and the enthusiastic audience, one or two can raise their questions. Srikanth, can you please allow Dr. Lakshman from US who has joined, allow him to raise the question to Dr. Satheesh Reddy Garu.
Hi, sir.
Hi, Dr. Lakshman, how are you?
I'm very good, sir. How are you, sir?
Good, good. Where are you from, US?
Sir, I live in Austin City, sir. I'm working for Apple as a software engineer in SAP.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
I came very recently to Dallas, close to your place.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very close. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And it's very glad that I looked at you and, listening to your voice directly. And I'm a very big fan of yours and will follow all the time, seriously. And sir, my question is not apart from this all, educational purpose, I understood what you explained everything, and I'm very glad to hear all that. So my question is, see, China is having, they are very committed to, they're very committed to take out Arunachal Pradesh and all. So it is in their agenda. And what measures India is taking for the coming 30 years to, not to fulfill their dreams. So that is what my questions are.
Actually, my feeling is let us today's discussion focus more on defense technologies, defense ecosystem and all that. But your question also, I think very recently, just about 10-15 days back, if I remember right, the Honorable Home Minister who went to Arunachal and I think reiterated the stand of India that how well we are committed to this particular cause of question what you are raised.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sorry for diverting that one, but I'm very good at it. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshman. I think the joy of connecting to Dr. Satheesh Reddy Garu is very good. And I think the international political warfare, we will leave out from this. You understand the compulsions of talking about or not talking about it. Okay. Request Srikanth to allow Mr. Rajesh to raise his question.
Sir, very good evening.
Very good evening.
From Hyderabad.
Rajesh, where are you?
I am from Hyderabad, sir.
Oh, you're from Hyderabad. So, okay,
Yes,
cool.
sir. Sir, actually, I have developed a suit for army people.
What type of a suit it is?
It's like of a invisible type of a suit. After wearing that suit, the person can be literally invisible for a human eye.
With respect to optically, you are saying? Optically? Or,
yes, sir. Yes. Optically.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do have some of the doubts, sir. Because there is a lot of. Can I speak in Telugu, sir?
Yeah, go ahead. I will translate. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, sir. అది ఏం లేదు సార్ యాక్చువల్లీ వచ్చేసి ఆ సూట్ వచ్చేసి నాకు చాలా కొంచెం డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయి. మ్యాక్స్ 70% ఆఫ్ ద వర్క్ హ్యాస్ బీన్ డన్ విత్ ఇట్. సో అది కొంచెము దాని ఏమంటారు సార్ అంటే లైక్ బుల్లెట్ ప్రూఫ్ బెస్ట్ కానీ అట్లా బుల్లెట్స్ గిట్లా తక్కకుండా ఉండడానికి కానీ డెవలప్ చేశాను.
What
So
we are
Max
doing,
ना तो
Mr. Rajesh, this
sir.
is a big question which is connected to you, and it is a technological question. You can meet me in Hyderabad whenever I come there, or otherwise
Okay, sir.
take my mail ID,
Okay, sir.
SATORM,
Okay.
SATORM
Okay.
at gov.in. Send the details,
Okay.
send your contact
Okay.
details also. I will contact you and we'll discuss separately instead of talking a specific issue or a privatized issue in this audience.
Yes, sir. Sure, definitely. Thanks, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rajesh Garu. Can we allow Engineer Ghanshyam Das Garg ji to speak?
Hello, sir. I'm Ghanshyam Das Garg. I was associated with DRDL project, Prithvi missile project.
Oh, very good. Very
Later
good.
on, I was in a LCA project also. So I want to ask, what is the fate of our LCA engine? Because Kaveri engine is not getting developed in a line which we wanted. So what is the fate of our LCA engine? Because we are importing it from USA nowadays.
See, there are two questions in this. Once you know that Kaveri engine is developed and LCA was shaping up the same time. And so the engine what has been developed was not meeting the updated requirements of the LCA. And so Kaveri engine could not get into LCA. But whereas the Kaveri engine, as it is developed, it's looking for other applications where it can get into it, which actually there are other applications where it is getting in. As far as the LCA is concerned, it is going ahead with the engine, what you said, imported engine. But for the future requirements, we are on the path to develop the engines, and a lot of systems, components, and other technologies are being developed for the future aircraft. Because the present aircraft is in production, you won't be able to get into it and try to make an engine and again in midway get into another engine concept into that present LCA. But for the future systems, there are a lot of efforts happening in developing the engines today.
We have in the audience a lot of senior people, including Mr. Somashekar, a senior journalist who worked with the Hindu Business Line for many years. Sir, would you like to raise any question? You can raise your hand. We will open the mic for you. In the meantime, I request Professor Prasad to take that one question from the Q&A box and raise it to Dr. Satheesh Reddy Garu. Professor Prasad, can you please do that? Yeah, it's muted. It's muted for you. Yeah.
There are actually two questions in the Q&A box.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the first one is already answered. Is defense industry getting dominated by private sector? If yes, then why? I think that is already answered to a good reasonable extent. The second is, the problem is that universities are still not having advanced knowledge and students have high expectations in terms of salary. A lot of students have that particular expectation. So how does one tackle that? That is the question.
See, the question is the salary part of it. When you look at it with the software industry, which actually works in a multinational way, with having offices and working mostly for the companies which are abroad and trying to export, that type of a salaries in a domestic industry to match that is very difficult. But then still, I think the industry and even other aspects now is geared up. Reasonable level of salaries are coming from the industry today. But at the same time, what I meant to say is somebody who is looking for that type of a thing, if getting into his own startup and looking into, millions of rupees or dollars getting into it and trying to expand and trying to sell off your technology is the other way around. But looking at domestic industry and trying to compete the type of salaries what you look in a software industry, in defense technologies and all that, in the given scenario would be difficult. Probably, as I said, if we are also getting in a big way into the export market and trying to develop the technologies, and where industry is investing into these developments itself, probably in the years to come, should be able to match to some extent to that. That's the one way actually.
Thank you, sir. And I think the associated question Madam had would raise this question is about the level of employability. So it says that, there are about 7% of people who are employable there, though these figures are very different between surveys. But when industry looks at it, generally the figures are 10% and sub 10%. So how do we tackle that? Even for a startup or even for an innovation, it has to be at a much higher order.
See, it is one thing, if you see the change in the last 4 years, I'm primarily talking about defense technologies because I'm not trying to answer the entire spectrum. The way the number of industries have come, the employability which has come in, and looking for the skilled manpower is enormous. And the number of industries which are expanding in a big way. I think employability in the defense sector is increasing in a big way. In fact, we are thinking about in the coming next about 4 years, at least about close to 5 lakh people should be employed minimum in the defense sector, minimum. This is how we are thinking, and probably the number could be even double also. This is the type of employment opportunities which are going to come in the defense industry.
Excellent, sir. I think you've answered another question. Somebody wanted to know what kind of employment would be there. At the same time, this opened up that, the issue that even to reach this, the engagement of academia with what is happening in industry as well as what's happening needs to step up, not just at the end level, but across the entire spectrum. I think that is also coming up. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If Mr. Somashekar and Dr. Chitra would like to ask questions, we'll take it as a last question and close it. They may raise their hand. But in the meantime, sir, I'm quite impressed with the motivation that you're giving us, especially for the stakeholders like us, as well as the industry and youngsters, in gearing the ourselves to this clarion call. The fact that 5 lakh people going to be employed in the next few years within the defense sector is a huge boost. And I'm sure this has to be not only celebrated, but it should be welcomed, and we should improve the skill building that is required, probably, because there are various other examples and models where skill building has been done sector-wise. And I think for defense sector also, especially on the niche technologies, skill building can be done.
That is why all these programs, one is the research programs. Right now, today, there are about more than close to about 3,000 people are working on the defense research projects in the academic institutes. And as I said, MTech courses in 6 verticals have been started. There are close to about 40 institutes which have started MTech courses in these defense technologies across the country. Number of institutes have started these electives in the BTech courses also. So all this is helping out to see that the skill set is developed here in the country towards the defense technologies.
Great, sir. Great. Over to Mr. Somashekar for his question.
Yeah, I think very good evening, all of you, especially thanks Sudhakar for giving me this opportunity to listen to Dr. Satheesh Reddy. I'm not tired of meeting him or listening to him over a very, very long period. But I did not intend to take away your time and also the audience by asking a question, but I think you have got me into this. So I'll briefly, just try to, on behalf of the students and the academia, try to, ask Dr. Reddy. A couple of years ago, the DRDO decided in a wonderful move to put the technologies developed by the network of laboratories, say 40 or 45, on their website and said, we will give it gratis to the university or industry. And you can take it forward. What is the response to this from the academia and institutions? And the second is, you also started a young leaders program, developing young leaders who will, drive defense technologies or institutions in future. Now, how are these 2 programs doing for the benefit of the listeners?
Firstly, let me answer the second question. That young leaders thing is basically young scientist laboratories. Actually, this is the direction given by the Honorable Prime Minister to start young scientist laboratories, wherein all the scientists in those laboratories are below 35 years old. So we have started about 5 laboratories working in the most advanced areas. like working in artificial intelligence, working in quantum technologies, working in cognitive technologies, working in smart materials and asymmetric technologies. All the laboratories of these young scientist laboratories in a short period of about 2 to 3 years, each have come out with at least 2 to 3 technologies and products which are very, very innovative in nature and going ahead. So I think it's a good model where you are able to encourage the youngsters and give the freedom to them, and then they're able to come out is a good model. Coming to the other aspect, the Ministry of Defense has put in various projects in the websites, and components, systems and subsystems and technologies which need to be developed, which are actually, which some of them which are importing and some of them which are required and all that. So that is what is actually the problem statements you have been taken up and which people are coming out. Many of them through the IDEX scheme, many of them through the TDF scheme, which have come in. As I said, there are about close to, my feeling is, I think the number is somewhere close to 200, the people who have availed it and then working on those technologies in a big way. So there are other things also, like DRDO has come out with 108 technologies, systems which are exclusive for industry. That is also another thing which has actually happened as a boost to the industry trying to work. And so now today I say that there are many niche technologies, components and subsystems which are coming and which will be coming up in a big way in the coming years from the startups and MSMEs in a big way. Of course, academia, I don't want to say on the systems and components, but more on the technology side. As I said, today the 15 centers of excellence are working in diverse areas, like even a product like lightweight bulletproof jacket is one of the important aspects, or anti-mine boot. And some of those areas, products are also coming out from the academia, which have taken up. So this is a big jump or big change in the country where industries and academia are able to develop technologies and products with innovations.
Thank you.
Great, sir. Thank you very, very much for that comprehensive answer. Professor Prasad, you have any question before we close?
I think the questions have been covered in the discussions held.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for patiently responding to all our queries. There's always a greater enthusiasm for us to interact with you. I thank you for bearing with us. And any other questions that are left, I will write to you by email and seek to have your responses or create another interaction possible at the next best opportunity. But for now, for this Friday, I want to thank you and the entire team in your office for coordinating with us to make this happen. Your responses, your roadmap, and everything is pretty clear, sir. One question for the road before we leave, and that is, you worked with many icons, many leaders. One of them most significant has been Dr. Abdul Kalam himself. What is one advice that you had received from Dr. Abdul Kalam, which has shaped your such brilliant career? In simple words, if you can help us understand that, that'll be great for us before we close.
When I was taking over as director RCI, the research center Imarat, which Dr. Kalam himself founded that laboratory in Hyderabad as a very big laboratory. It happened to be that he was there that day. So what he said is, he asked me to take a notebook, write it there, what I will be remembered for as director RCI. So this is the question. So you work that I have made these systems, I have brought in new these technologies, I brought in this change and work towards that dedicatedly. This is the advice what he gave. I think the message is very clear. Put a vision which is very high, very ambitious, which nation feels pride of it. Work towards it very dedicatedly, sincerely, giving your maximum to that. That's the advice what he gave, I think, indirectly, directly, whatever it is.
Brilliant, sir. Brilliant. That is so inspiring, actually, to listen from you. Keeping a goal and vision so high that the nation salutes to you in pride. I mean, that's amazing. I think the contributions that you have made in your long career so far to building the defense preparedness or defense systems and the ecosystem has been laudable, very, very significant, and we are extremely proud of you. yes, there is a queue and there is a message for all the members who are around the screen listening to this amazing session, that what will we be remembered for in our respective roles. I think we need to write that down and work towards it and practice it. One such amazing leader has been with us for the last 62 minutes, talking to us in live session. Thank you so much, sir, to the Government of India for sparing you to have these WiseViews sessions with ICFAI, and for the benefit of course, all the budding leaders from various industries and various walks of life. They're coming here to listen to leaders like you every Friday. Thank you so much for your time, expertise, and concern for the development of this nation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Sudhakar Rao and Professor Prasad, for giving me this opportunity to interact with you and all the people who are there in the VC now. And I also say that probably we couldn't touch upon all the people. So whoever has got any other query, whoever has got anything else to communicate, as I said, my mail ID is satorm@gov.in. If you have anything, please send a mail and we are very glad to answer you. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Thank you, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll meet you next Friday at 6:30 p.m. on May 5th. And we are going to understand yet another interesting aspect of skill building and career building from a leader who has been working and excelling in this area. So May 5th, we look forward to meeting Ms. Gunatantri. She's going to talk to us on May 5th at 6:30 p.m. So do join us. We'll send out the communications also in a day or two. And till then, keep reading about the development and expansion made by DRDO as an organization and other network of laboratories that we have built in this country, and some of the recent accomplishments in the defense warfare that Dr. Satheesh Reddy has been championing. Some videos are out there on YouTube. Kindly go through, and I think these things will inspire us and take pride in. So for one more session of inspiration and pride, we will connect with you on May 5th at 6:30 p.m. Till then, good night. Thank you all.